Hi, my name is Sulo, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been recovering now since 1982 when I went to treatment at Millard One West. Previous to that, I had been drinking for many years. I spent 20 years in the Navy, and of course, those days were filled a lot, not necessarily the days, but the nights were filled with a lot of carousing and drinking. And so it got to be kind of a habit. In those days, I was completely unchurched, which I've been unchurched actually until I came out of treatment in 1982. My whole family was unchurched, and so basically I did not have a church family at all. Since then, let me tell you this. I went to a AA meeting in Woodland when I was in treatment. And while I was at that Woodland AA meeting, I had you might say, a spiritual experience that put me on such a high. I mean, they talk about mountaintop highs. I was definitely on one of them. And what I felt like after was that it was a calling from God to really change my mind, to change my life, and to become a much better person. And I was, at the time, I was in treatment and having a real difficult time of it because I had been on a hot seat for 3 days. So when I got back from that AA meeting, and the very next day, I was no longer on a hot seat. And I couldn't quite figure that out, but it was okay with me. While I was in treatment also, I had a friend whose pastor came to visit from Our Savior's Cloquet Church. And I asked my friend if he would ask his pastor to come and visit me, because I had no idea about pastors. So he came to visit, and we talked. And for me, it was very enlightening, and it was very positive, because he helped me figure out what the hole was that I had in my life, and the hole I had tried to fill with alcohol. And so the hole was that I was missing God in my life. And so he invited me to come to his church after I got out of treatment, which I did. And I joined that church eventually. And I actually was in that church. I joined a choir, and my life was changing faster maybe than I really wanted it to. But I was married at that time to another person, and things didn't work out too well, because my whole family was used to me being an alcoholic and not for me being a church-going person. So it was very difficult. And so we ultimately got divorced, and I was single for many years until I remarried in 1990. And I married a Christian woman, and of course, we went to church together, and we were asked by a person to come to they were calling it the Summer of the Psalms at Good Shepherd here. And we did, and we found out that we really enjoyed it. We liked it very well. We liked the people, but more especially for me, they had a men's Bible study. And the first time we were here, there was 2 individuals that came up to me who were both recovering alcoholics. And they told me about the Bible study and asked me if I'd care to join, which I did. And so to me, it's been a real blessing. This church has been a blessing to me in many, many ways. I've found a home here at this church. They've been very accepting of my alcoholism. I have told my story here a couple of times, I guess, and most people in this congregation know that I am a recovering alcoholic. But you know, it doesn't make any difference whether they know or not. They've been so loving and accepting of me as an individual, and my alcoholism to them means really nothing, except that, in a sense, my drinking has kind of probably got me to where I am today. Um, and that kind of sounds crazy, but perhaps if I had never spent the night in that Carlton County jail, waiting and wondering what was going on and saying, God, I can't do this anymore, help me. And I think that was the day that I actually surrendered to God. And since that day, in 1982, March the 20th actually, of 1982, I have been sober, and my life has changed completely, and I know that God has plans for me. And I know He's had plans for me. When I look back on my life, I see where He has protected me. He has guided me, whether I needed to or wanted to or not have Him guide me. But He has guided me, and He has given me the strength to pursue areas where I didn't really want to go. He has given me the strength to live through the fact that my daughter died from pancreatic cancer 4 years ago. You would think that things like that would drive me back to drink, but no, because God has given me the strength to prevail. And you know, I have been so blessed in my life. I just can't express that enough. And I'm so grateful for this church and the pastors and all the people here. They have been so loving and caring about me. And I don't know, I can't say thank you enough to the people and to our church here at Good Shepherd.